Live. I've gone live. Hello, YouTube. Someday people will even tune in while I'm on YouTube here. Should I wait a few minutes? That would make a boring video for VOD, which is when I expect people to watch this. Today's rant. I was watching a video on YouTube, and she was talking about the social pressure to conform to a traditional way of life. She's an artist and a nomad. And I thought, well, okay, so people tell you, oh, you don't have a real job. And then in so many words, they say, you're a loser. So, I'm paraphrasing. Oh, you don't do X, therefore you aren't Y. You're a loser because. So, okay, let's work through that logic, shall we? Not that it's logical, but let's work through the logic that theoretically exists. Mr. Critique, he comes up to you. He's like, oh, you're an artist and you don't make any money. Oh, you should get a real job. Okay, so let's say you get a real job. What is that real job? Well, let's consider what kind of jobs qualify as entry-level positions. Because after all, you can't get a high-powered, high-paying, fancy-dressing job with no experience. So you're a fry cook or a waitress or a care home attendant. Actually, that might require some education. I'm not sure. Even to be a janitor requires a boiler's ticket. That's a 2-year education. So it's not an entry-level job. You're pretty much looking at service industry jobs with some manager that browbeats you and treats you like a teenager after high school, which you're not because, you're an artist. Anyway, so you get that job. What do they say to you? Oh, you only have this, you're a fry cook. Oh, you're a burger flipper. Oh, you're just a cleaner. Oh, you're a loser. Your job isn't fancy enough. You're a loser. Right. So if you're not making a ton of money, you're a loser. That's what they're saying. So let's say you decide, okay, I'm 25. I want to have a real career. My daddy ain't rich. My mommy ain't rich. I got to pay for my own education. And I've got an entry-level job to do that, but I can't do enough of that entry-level job to both support my ass and put me through school. So I can't afford to go to school and get that high-powered job. Oh, you're a loser. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter what you do in life. There will always be that percentage of people. And trust me, among the population, they're actually a pretty small percentage. There are more gays in the world than there are assholes. It's just that they have much louder voices. The gays needed Pride Parade for you to notice them. The assholes, they just come in, they figure out what's going to bother you the most, and they say it. And that's how they get your attention, and that's how they get noticed. And that's why they seem so big. That's why they seem to have so much extra voices behind them. But a person who's going to criticize everything, he is irrelevant. His opinion is irrelevant. His voice does not deserve to be heard because it is predictable. If every single morning I wake up and say, oh, the sun is rising today, what's the value in that? I recognize that rituals and parlay that has a ritual form is a way that human beings connect. But when that ritualized noise becomes mentally harmful to you, it doesn't even have the value of the oxytocin release that a parlay between two humans have. So if I wake up every morning and I say, good morning, the sun has risen today, it might actually take a place of a ritualized speak between humans to make another human being feel good. Like, oh, aren't you cheerful? Now I feel cheerful. There's value in that. But if I get up and say, oh, I see morning has dawned again, I guess we have to go through another day. I'm not giving anyone pleasure with those words, nor am I communicating any novel information, okay? Your words have two purposes. Your voice has two values: to communicate information that someone needs or to give them positive feelings. That's it. It's either you speak either to make someone feel good or you speak to communicate them some information they require. Now, that's what the critics think they're doing. They think they're communicating information you require. They want you to know you suck because they think that you will stop sucking as soon as you hear it. Oh my God, it sucks. I will do what this guy says because he's so smart and wise. I will just copy what he tells me, and then I won't suck anymore. I won't be a loser. And the thing is, it doesn't work that way. You can't. You can't copy another human being. We are too individual to literally copy each other. But there are people who find copying easier than other people find it. And the people who find it easy don't understand why it should be difficult for anyone else. Their entire society is based on copying each other. They wear clothes that look alike. I think of the Japanese. Now, they all have their individual personalities, but they have a level of social harmony and mimicry that really exemplifies where copying each other is useful to a society. It means that they all can kind of understand each other. They're all on the same sort of a level, and they all have a common ground based in the rituals and traditions of being Japanese and of what it is to be Japanese. And among that, the eccentrics can then shine. But they too, as children, receive enough of this education and this culture. Now you come out west here, in North America, a place of colonies, and I imagine Australia is somewhat similar. We are created by such a diverse set of nations. The First Nations and all of the immigrants that have followed since. We have all brought our own flavor to what it is, to our society. So we even more so cannot copy it, because who do I copy? Do I copy other Dutch Canadians? Do I copy people in Holland? Do I copy people in Saskatoon? Well, I have to copy the person that's in the room with me, or else I'm asking them to copy me. So then we've got a power struggle. Who's going to be the leader and who's going to copy? And so this human need to copy each other to find that common ground in language is where the criticism comes from. And it's not imparting new information. The critic thinks he is, but he's not. You've heard it before. He's said it before. And frankly, that's all he ever says. He says it to you. He says it to him. He says it to her. He says it to them. He says it to everybody. It's not novel. He's not communicating any useful information, nor is it necessarily even true. And even if it is true, it may not be all that important. So he can come up to me and say, what the heck's wrong with your hair? Makes you look like a man. And I'll say, well, it's kind of what I'm going for. And he'd be like, ew, why would you want to do that? You know, and then it's up to me whether I want to say, to spite your ass because you annoy me, or to explain the long wealth and the long story behind it. Or if I'm feeling really friendly, I might go, it's a long story. Goodbye now. And that's the point, though. When someone comes up and says something that is not complimentary to you, nor is it informative, their voice is irrelevant. Their words have no value. Their opinion, they may have a right to it, but they don't have a right to push it on you. You don't have to listen to people's opinions just because they have a right to have them. And maybe your country has enshrined his right to stand in the middle of the street and shout his opinion, or on YouTube, or in social media, or even walk up in your face and with spray in your face to tell you. But he does not have a right to make you hear him. And you don't have the obligation to hear him. You can turn away. You can ghost him. You can talk to the hand, buddy. I don't want to hear that. You don't have to listen to criticism, not even from your parents. Actually, you don't. If people can't find a nice way to tell you something that's useful to you, it's probably not something you need to hear. If it's important, they can find a nice way to communicate it. It may be something like, listen, and by the way, this is a very good formula to follow when you need to communicate with someone. When you X, I feel Y. Not you are making me, not you suck, not you are this or you are that. If you are is part of that phrase, you've already failed. No, when you do this, I feel that. That is the there, and you can come up with other words if you like, but it must follow that pattern if you expect to communicate information to someone that they're going to be able to take in and understand. Because when you attack them in their personality, they can't hear you. And that's another reason why a critical voice is irrelevant, because the person being criticized stops hearing what you're saying and starts merely being immersed in their feelings of fear. Oh, the world doesn't love me, and therefore I'll be denied resources and life. And that's on a subconscious level. You're not sitting there thinking that, but your animal self is. Your animal self sees the rejection of your fellow men as a potential death by starvation and exposure. Because when the tribe cast you out, if you didn't have enough physical strength, wits, and tools at your disposal to survive on your own, you simply didn't. Odds were very good if you tried to go somewhere else to another tribe that they would cast you out unless you had something to offer. I mean, why are you out on your own? You've been rejected. Are you diseased? Are you crazy? Are you criminal? They're not going to just take you in. So if you're cast out by your tribe, it's a serious thing. And the animal person inside of you knows it. So when someone criticizes you, you feel wounded on an animal level. And you don't hear them anymore. So criticism genuinely has no voice, however loud it may be. It is no more value than an alarm, than a car alarm that goes off every time someone drives by. No value at all. Does the owner of that car alarm go running every time he hears it beep? Does he even hear it beep? Does it serve any purpose? Does it protect the car? No. Nobody even thinks twice when... I mean, the last time you were in a car alarm, did you go and check to see if the car that was beeping somewhere off in the parking lot was being stolen? I didn't. How many of us do? Did the owner hear it? He's deep inside the store. No, he didn't hear it either. That thing just went beeping off until either it timed out or wore out the battery or the owner returns. It did not prevent theft. It would not have prevented theft. You would simply have said, oh, thank God they're driving off. I hope their mechanic can sort it out. Never realizing that you just witnessed a theft or didn't witness it because you didn't bother looking. So too with the critical voice. The critical voice that comes to you and tells you what's wrong with you is no more value to you than the car alarm in a parking lot. It's just a lot of noise. It's wind. Just wind. So when you're sitting there and your little animal self is curled up in a fetal position crying because someone said something nasty to you, mentally reach out and hug it and tell it it's okay. They're wrong. They're crazy. They don't know what they're talking about. Just listen to the way they talk. They don't know anything. They don't know. And then go seek some compliments if you must. Go find someone who will give you a compliment. Find a reason to ask for one or to draw one. You know, post a picture of yourself smiling at the camera going, I'm feeling beautiful today. And watch how many people tell you you are. And read those. Read those comments. And when someone says, you don't look beautiful to me, block that man, block that woman. That human being has no value in your life. And it doesn't matter that they said, oh, I'm just kidding. Can't you take a joke? Why should you have to take a joke? What was so funny about saying, oh, no, I think you're ugly? Why is that funny? Every time I've ever witnessed teasing, it seemed to me to be a way of testing to see how much abuse you'll tolerate and whether or not you're therefore qualified to be a friend of an abusive person. Teasing is abuse, friends. It's abusive. So that is my rant for today. Critical voices have no voice. If you can't say something nice or useful, then you've got no point in talking. Go do something else. Thanks for listening.